Here you go. You're welcome.
Is that on? All right. Ernie gets a double introduction today. How awesome. I met Ernie back in the Ron Paul days, creating signs down at the workshop in Phoenix. I met many friends back then, some that have grown to be family over the years. Ernie and Donna both have inspired community, and it has continued to evolve. When people first wake up to liberty, they sometimes feel alone, like they're the only ones in the world who believe this way. Between Ernie's show, Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock, the website Freedom's Phoenix, and the hours of activism Ernie has done, he has reached thousands of people and continues to do so. We are very lucky here in Arizona to have such an overwhelmingly large, decentralized community of people supporting the ideas of liberty through the counter economy and agorism. It's because of people like Ernie that we are able to find each other and connect. My name is Alma Sommer, and people call me the founding mother of the Jackalope Freedom Festival. In 2011, PorkFest inspired me to create something like it, except for one big difference: no one is in charge. When I took Ernie out to show him my favorite camping spot, we drove just past it, and that's when we found Baca Meadows and the county's volunteer sheriff's department. They were camping out there. Jackalope is a celebration, cue music if you got it, of a time that's come. A camping party in the forest where Leave Me Alonists come to trade and live in community with each other, peacefully and voluntarily. It's free to camp, vend, and attend, and we will be celebrating the 8th year of this in the first 2 weeks of August. I hope you can come and hang out with Ernie and many other amazing humans. Brian and me, my other half, and our children, we will be there. But with no further ado, here's Ernest Hancock.
When I'm doing the show, a lot of times I don't have the camera on me. I'm doing images and everything, and I'm headbanging or whatever, and sometimes I have the camera on. And I go, hello. All right, what I'm going to do is, since we're limited on time, I'm gonna do the Memorex commercial, blow your hair back, and all you young guys don't know what I'm talking about. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a perspective. Freedom's a perspective. And from my realization as a young person, you know, like a lot of you guys, I started when I was like 28 back in '88. My wife and I just got pregnant with our 4th child. We have like 4 under 4. We have our 12th grandchild coming, so I'm invested. And at the time, I remember thinking and talking to my wife and saying, you know, by the time they're our age now, the country's not going to be anywhere near what it is now. I came across a bunch of stuff and long stories. Corruption, everything Larkin says. You know, Larkin's like, well, they're just... What happens when 30 years ago you realize that and you think you're the only one? You know, is there anybody else that sees this? By the time our children are our age, 28 at the time, they're averaging around 30 now. By the time they're our age, this country won't be the same. They won't think the same. There won't be the same opportunities. There will be this overwhelming government with big debt and on and on and on. 88. That year was 2016. That was when we had been planning for 2 decades that it was going to be 2016 was by the time we thought we had a deadline to at least get people to understand what the problem was. Then it happened that 9/11 happens. 3 weeks after 9/11 was our first Freedom Summit that we do every year. Now, a lot of the guys that, you know, you guys know, but a lot of people didn't know then. Ron Paul has spoken at 3 of our summits. Lou Rockwell, Walter Block, Patrick Byrne, Cody Wilson, Anthony Gregory, Walter Block, Peter Schiff, on and on and on. I mean, it goes a long name drop of a lot of people. They didn't know who the heck are these people. But they understood the same thing that was coming. The Freedom Summit was for us to explain to our friends and family what we thought was coming and they should prepare for, get their mind right. Well, You know, I remember there was a line from Terms of Endearment. It was Jack Nicholson and Shirley MacLaine. It doesn't matter, but there was a line in there where one of the women says, you know, there's going to be a time that 10 years from now, you wish as bad as you thought it was going to be, it was only 10 times that bad. That's where I'm seeing we are now. What we feared was coming, we wish it was only 10 times as bad as what we thought back here. But our mindset has shifted. What's the solution? Blah, 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 blah. Everybody's all about how bad it is and so on. What's the solution? So my presentations of late have been, why am I so optimistic? Why would I be optimistic? I got, 12th grandchild coming. They're going to start coming in and driving in the car that sits there and watches them, that I go on my phone and I just sit there and go, I see you. Put down that hamburger and drive. I mean, So this, a lot of times parents will look at this stuff and go, that's not a bad idea. But when do you stop having parents? When is it always Big Brother? When is it, so we were trying, it's us. It's not them. There's always them. There's always 4 or 5% sociopathic, no empathy of we can take from you and do what we want with it because you let us, dummy. There's always going to be those people. Stop giving them badges. Stop voting for them. Stop giving them, well, we're going to have a really good way for you to manage your money. It's all good. We'll call it the Federal Reserve, or something. So for me, it was not them. I understood early on it was us. So how can you inspire people to fix themselves? Everybody. During the 90s, I'm officer in the Libertarian Party. I've run for national chair. I ran for Congress 3 times. I ran against John McCain, U.S. Senate in 2004. I ran for Secretary of State. Ran for. Okay? I don't vote, but I run. Okay? So the thing is, I go, you're still voting with a big V for Vendetta in the sign? The voting had a big V. You're still voting? And it was voted the most popular sign in the newspaper. People know. How do you inspire? We started doing radio in 2003. Michael Kilsky here, got to where every word I've ever spoken for 15 whatever years is in the archive somewhere in MP3. What the hell's an MP3? Nobody knew what an MP3 was. This is the leading edge of technology I have made use of to make sure that the signal goes everywhere and you go everywhere, you're Mr. Universe, whatever. So there's always the signal. Well, then you could count on it was books. Now Amazon delists books, delists movies. It's electronic book burning. So I'm wow. So when we created Freedom's Phoenix, it was a mindset in 96. We understood that the internet was going to be where people got their news. And of course, when video hits the internet. Video will never hit the internet, you moron, what do you know? And I'm going, I'm thinking it might. Well, when it did in 2005, YouTube hit, we started Freedom's Phoenix. We have hundreds of categories, 300-something plus thousand headlines. Over 15 years of just chronology. On my show last week, I go to housing 10 years ago. The headlines are exactly the same. So-and-so says this. Whatever index does this. Baltic Dry Goods do that. I know what's coming. Then what? What we did with Pirates Without Borders, it happened about 2.5 years ago. It was in the fall of 15, I think it was, and 16, whatever, it was back then sometime. So the headline was, Iceland Pirate Party doesn't mean nothing. They only got 16% of Parliament. They got 16% of Parliament their first time out? What the hell just happened? So I went and I said, all right, here it comes. Because Rick Falconer, we had the Pirate Party in Europe was kind of a libertarian thing, anti, restrictions on the internet and censorship and copyright and all that kind of stuff. And it started coming across the pond. Boom, it's in Iceland. They get 16% of parliament. The Lovolution that we started and everything here in Arizona, the Ron Paul Lovolution, that's us here. Well, what happened, all of a sudden that was going into Europe, and we're starting to see Banksy, graphics, throwing bouquet of flowers, the Lovolution logo, we know the truth. I mean, it started going both ways. It's in South America, it's in Asia, it started to go. This is a generational thing. This is not a country thing, it's not a geographical thing, it's not even a religion or ethnicity, it's a human thing. Leave me aloneism. Leave me aloneism. From whom? They, them, those. They, you conspiracists, they. Who are they? I'll tell you who they are. There are those that just want to be left alone, and there are those that just won't leave them alone. Which one are you? I just want to be left alone. Now, the categories that when we said we're going to do this pirate thing, well, we didn't really know what we were going to call it. We knew the concept. We knew we were going to go pirate. And the reason is anybody that knows history about pirates, the pirates really were just people who want to be left alone. If I had a English naval ship, half the guys have been shanghaied. Oh, let's talk about it and see what's up. Have a naval ship and you got shanghaied. They took you and you woke up from the, drinking the grog. You're on a ship out in the ocean. Guess what? You're in the Navy. That wasn't a whole bunch of volunteerism there. Well, escaped slaves and escaped naval individuals, they go into the Caribbean. They're in Nassau, and they got their pirate headquarters, and they're doing their ne'er-do-wells there. But they brought democracy. This is what happens. You look at the history, and you have pirate captains have a bunch of pirates as crew. What happens when you're a dick on a pirate ship? You're dead. Seriously, how do you keep a pirate ship going? Well, they elected the captain, then the quartermaster. They were the representative of the crew. So yeah, the only time the captain had carte blanche was when they were in battle. Man, there wasn't, we're not going to have a revote in battle, okay? Other than that, the crew decided what they were going to do. So this is why we call him Captain Mark. Captain Mark is the character, and you'll see some stuff. There's bumper stickers back there. I encourage you to go get some laptop stickers. There's some newspapers here and in the vending room. There's some pens. Whatever you think that you need, you're going to put, and you want to decorate and promote, paste, take it, give me $1 donation, whatever or not. I leave it up to you, what value it has to you. Now, the books, I have some books that we started publishing on Amazon, 48 pages. Now, those are $10, and I'm going to have them around if you guys want those, and those are really nice. Now, who's working with me on this is, a lot of guys, but Davi Barker from Bitcoin Not Bombs is a graphic artist that I use. So we decided we wanted to you have to have a ship. What happened was, whenever you do anything to be left alone, they always know where you are. I see you, So then you got to have a ship. Well, then we talk, okay, it's an airship. It's lighter than air. Then we got, all of a sudden we put rocket engine. Okay, now it's a spaceship. So we're just building it, and we put the dimensions out online. 5 months later, all of a sudden, boom, it started getting built, and we start seeing animations at the end of this. I'll end with that, and I'll just show you the first animation that came out, and we're still working on it. And we have design contests for the engine room, sick bay, the bridge. All this stuff is blank inside, so we're building that out. Now, the reason we chose these categories, communication, energy, shelter, health, food and water, transportation, automation, and education. These are the areas where decentralization down to the individual can free you from the grid. And we're not off the grid. We're above the grid. I don't need to be, I'm up here. Your grid don't matter to me. It doesn't apply. I don't care. And we're gone. Now, this is like Serenity. The way we organize this, it's, how Captain Mark does and ships around and makes money, and we live and go and Seasteady needs somebody to ship to him. Okay? Cool. But that wasn't really what the point. It evolved into that. What it was, we started with the first letter of Captain Mark. Then the second letter, the third letter. We're up to about a dozen letters from Captain Mark and his female sidekick, Reprisal. Now, Dr. Idris Barber, the barber's the doctor, and he has something to say about healthcare, and that's in the book, and you'll enjoy that. And these are short, and they have czar dates, 45, 637, 248. 45th president, 647 days in office, and how many words are in the letter. So that's what the czar date means. So you can see about in the administration which czar is in charge, of when this was written. Now, the first letter is why I raised my black banner. Government sucks. Second one's on cryptocurrency. Third one's on privacy. Fourth one, we get into artificial intelligence. We talk about decentralization, healthcare, the justice system, self-defense, war. From an anarchist position, there is no crown. We do not respect the crown. It's not about the crown. It's voluntarism, the pirate code as we write it. Because each ship had its own pirate code. When you signed onto a ship, you weren't signing in the British Navy. You're just there. You signed onto a ship. You agreed to whatever that criteria was. You don't think we're anarchist enough or too much? Go make your own damn ship. That's the whole point. Now, in the last few minutes, I'm going to tell you what we're doing so that you can understand the impact that we're going to have on this, where I think the big threat is. About 3 years ago, I've been screaming about this forever, but in 10, 11, so it's been a while. It was no later than 11, we went dark on all our social media. Now, we have Freedom's Phoenix, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube and all the blah, 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 blah. We got all those sites. Now, Alma, used to help me a lot with that. And the experiment for Jackalope was, can you have camping by a bunch of anarchists and it not get organized? The big thing between Alma and I is like, well, we need to have an organized and the vendors go. And I go, whoa, 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 you're getting too organized. No, because the second year what happened, the rangers came in, the forest rangers with their battle gear, hut, 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 hut. Who's in charge of the jackalope? I don't know Jack. I literally don't know Jack, okay? And then they had in the pop-up, it had a camera up there, and it said copblock.org free hugs or something. Top of the morning to you. We just came here to service you and make you, like the bull services, so they had the helicopters coming in. I mean, the second year, they were all over it, man. They wanted to know what's up. And we found out the reason is they don't like anarchist people just being free and left alone, because the people up in that area, northeastern, up on the rim, Arizona, where a lot of the military and law enforcement and government employees and intelligence, military intelligence, so on, that retired and moved up there to be away from the galloping horde of us. And all of a sudden, we're camping in their front yard. They go, we're going to explain it to you. Bring it on in, man. They bring in their razors and they go around, buy stuff. After about 7, 8 years, they get it, man. It's just a bunch of it. And then we clean up better and we leave. So it's not a problem. But then there's problems. People get a little too rowdy, a little too, Ernie, this guy. I go, hey, man, I don't remember getting elected sheriff. You sure shit ain't paying me, okay? How'd that happen? So what do we talk about? How do we do it? These are things. It's an experiment. Can you have an anarchist society and keep it to where you don't need a guy, or you privately hire, or all the same stuff that Larkin's talking about? Larkin's been up there and spoke. So this is an experiment. We're seeing how it's going. And it's going to be, when's it going to be deemed over and done? I don't know, when Alma has a front desk register and everybody give them a permission slip, So this, but we do have porta potties though. Jack gets the porta potties. Somebody paid for that. I don't know if Jack did with Bitcoin, so I don't know. The guy that delivers them, I don't know. I don't know. So this is the experiment we're trying to do. Now, what I saw was the problem in all of this was that they, them, those do not want you to be able to be private or to have permanent influential material out on the internet. So it's kind of, man, what the heck do they want? They don't want you to be able to secretly, privately communicate with your family. They don't want you to be able to have your own servers that everybody syncs up on. They don't want, one of my children has 4 children. Well, they all have a couple, and there's always pictures and stuff being sent on Facebook, or it's in the Apple Cloud, where my wife has to have an iPad to be able to, we can look at it. So somebody else has them, and if it's Facebook, hell, they own them. So you have somebody else has them, then it goes down, then what? Well, hopefully you had it organized. And why am I sharing it with all these other third party in the government and stuff, and facial recognition on my kids from birth to death, and I'm trusting them to hold them for me? Why do we do that? Because it's convenient. Because we can. What if we had devices that we could store our own data, make it available to our friends and family, and they can add to it or not? You know, I vote that. Interplanetary file sharing, IPFS. They came out with this ability to be able to address files by the address you find them, what the name of the file is, and not where it is on some server, which we have to go to Canada and backups in France and go to blah, 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 blah. Because we've been DDoS and come after, and Michael will tell you, man, they won't explain it to us. And as an attorney and a computer science, you can go ahead and start the, for that. Now, we just have some other graphics I'm just going to let go in here and some memes that we have some fun with. And the reason is because it's a mindset, but we wanted to make it fun. We wanted to have hacker spaces coming on board. We wanted to have where we could do security cameras at our work and home, VPN tunnel it, and then have it to where it goes on any display that we put a little Raspberry Pi onto, and it goes through the USB and the Wi-Fi that's secure into our business or home and phone, and we have all our security without an Alexa, without a Next, without the doorbell that has, we just find out Google, they have these devices, and what did they tell you? Yeah, you know, it's got a microphone in it. Hey, you can turn that off, you're not using that. They had a secret microphone on the chip, on the motherboard. Oh, that's not a bug, that's a feature. We're going to tell about it later when we were going to do something. What? So now we have the ability to communicate privately with our own cloud, on our own networks. That's available now, but it was done by the same guys that did Filecoin, an ICO that was the largest at the time, almost $300 million. And what it was is this software goes on you storing data so that you get paid in crypto for proof of storage and proof of dissemination, that people requested it and went out. So you get paid for being the internet. It's pieces encrypted of sand on your computer that you get paid for being the internet. Well, they were fortunately, instead of MaidSafe.net, M-A-I-D, safe.net, years ago we were endorsed and pushed, and they're still doing it. They wanted to develop the whole infrastructure as an operating system. By default, we're free, and everybody gets paid, and boom, it's done. Well, they're still working on it. What IPFS did is they created the protocol for doing it, and Filecoin was to make money on that when they got this done. But I'm not waiting on that. Now, when this comes on, then we can make money and it's all good. And I go, so what you're saying is right now, while they're doing the deplatforming of everybody, 800 accounts got stricken off of Facebook, YouTube is shadow banning, going. James Corbett, the Corbett Report. Anybody know the Corbett Report? Man, awesome. James Corbett comes on my show past few years every 2 weeks. What happens is he puts up these great videos. All of a sudden, they're age-restricted now. You have to be 18 to watch the World War I conspiracy. So this is so, to me, the biggest threat of the best content is going away. It's memory hole. It's 1984. It's newspeak. It's all this stuff. You know, the Picture Humanity, a jackboot on human face forever. This is happening right now. And we're thinking that we're kind of comfortable, you know, it's not, yeah, it's over there. It's not that, it's going to get really bad. You're not going to be able to share. You're not going to be able to have these ideas. I remember in about 2005, Vince Soprano, a Las Vegas Review-Journal libertarian editor, he said, you know, I fear that 15, 20 years from now, we're going to be looking back at the good old days that we were able to complain and not risk immediate retaliation. And people, you know, like Crystal's from China, she knows exactly how this works. Your social score, what you can and can't do based on how much you kissed the ring of the man. So what we've done is we've created IPFS nodes that we just finished this week loading all 7.8 million items of James Corbett onto the internet that is there forever now, that can never go away. We've done it with Pirates. We've done it with Freedom's Phoenix. We are now, the next one is Richard Grove from Tragedy and Hope, Luke Radowski, Dan Dix, Press for Truth, Josh Segerson from World Alternative Media, Derek Brose. These are the ones, once you get all these guys, that is the internet. So when you go up to a 9/11 video by James Corbett and it doesn't come up, it's some CNN thing, and it's not suggested, and if you don't get the wording exactly, this is shadow banning. This is what's happening right now. We went to Anarchizona when Josh Segerson got 100,000 followers. He stopped by my home right before Christmas. Boom, that was the trigger. All these guys, I'm sure Larkin will tell you, 90% of the revenue went away. That's why you're seeing a lot more of subscription and Patreon, which will go away. All of these, we have created the landing for people to be able to have their content always available. They don't want you to be private. What you're talking about, you want to make public forever, and they don't want you to make it public forever. So what do they want? Approved propaganda. That which is not required is forbidden. This is where we're going, but I'm optimistic. They're going to come after the ISPs. The next thing they're going to do is they're going to shut down your access to the internet. Yeah? CubeSats, direct access mesh networks. This stuff is happening now. The umbrella revolution in Hong Kong was them doing mesh network called FireChat that came up from a Russian guy that before did this open garden thing, blah, 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 blah. It's always, the signal will always get out. Where's the content? Who are the content providers? Where are they going to make it available for you to share? That's what we're doing. That's what you can be part of. By the end of April, we're going to have a landing page that we're finishing building out. We had to have an example of like James Corbett first to be able to use that as an example of what we've accomplished. By the end of April, when you go to freedomsphoenix.com or pirateswithoutborders.com, you will see a mechanism for you to go buy, load, get, do, contribute, get, done. And we are the internet immediately. It's already started. And I just wanted you guys to be aware of it. And normally I give you all kinds of, show you a bunch of stuff. You can go ahead and load up the video. Now, I'm going to show you the video. It's a minute, and a half or something like that. And this is the airbag. That's the lifting gas for it. And that's helium and or hydrogen. Now, we can crack water with the solar. That sail you see up top is a solar panel that disperses out when it's in space. There are 6 ducted fans on each side. This thing is over 1,000 feet long. It's 10% bigger than the Hindenburg. It's a building. And that stored this on the bottom, that totally detaches and cables down. Now, you go, they won't build that. 3 months after I did a presentation for we started doing this, 3 days after I did it, Sergey Brin came out years ago. He bought a hangar in the Pacific Northwest, and he's building his own airship to do this. Co-founder of Google. And then you never hear anything about them. They're building this stuff now. They're using this to do highway construction in Canada because they don't have access during the winter months, and only like 3 months out of the year they could do any construction. So they said, screw it. We don't need transportation. We're going to airships. The military wants to do the airships. Oh, yeah, but it's not just an airship. It's a spaceship. SpaceX sells used rockets after a few launches. Can I have one? So there's doing the different rooms, the cabins, the bridge, the captain's launch. All this is what is in the contest people are designing now. If you go to Pirates Without Borders forum, you'll see it. I'll conclude with that, and I just want to make sure that you understand. There is so much optimism. There's so much that has come not to just enslave us, but to free us if we know and somebody can demonstrate how we can use this technology to keep our thoughts and our words, and Larkin, he'll be participating too, have him on the IPFS so you never have to worry about his material ever going away. And the same equipment allows you to be private with your family, and you don't have to use Facebook or clouds to do the same thing. That's what we're doing, because I think communication is the #1, and we have all the other categories too that we're doing stuff. So peace.